Part 1. World of Differences. Life's little treasures in a chest. Everybody that comes into our lives is there for a reason and a purpose. Sometimes, some people test us, build us, or tear us down. People come and go in our lives within a season, and reasons best known to them. Yet, everyone we meet in our lives is special and unique regardless of what they may have. Some of these people that have different conditions, character, can teach us valuable life lessons along the way. However, we should always be patient, understanding, compassionate, empathetic and more. Fact. People with AS have normal to very high intelligence and have good verbal skills. Aspergers/Autism Network, AANE. The people that I have met in my life, despite what conditions they have at whatever age or stage in their life, are still humans and they still need the same treatment that we normal people take for granted. Despite all this, I believe that we can make a difference today with everybody, not just a selected few. I also believe that, despite the differences we have, some people are afraid of being different as they may tend to think that we are too hard to understand, too hard to reach out to and more. But, despite being different, it can be scary, challenging and lots more. It is what we do with this, our life, that creates a better life for us and others that are in our lives. Life's little treasures to me mean so much more than you can possibly imagine. It is about accepting our differences as well as everything in us as a person. However, treasure has so many different meanings and how they can be defined are as follows. 1. A valuable person or an item such as a collection of money or jewelry as well as other valuables in our possession. 2. To find value in a person or item. For example, how I look at treasure is someone that is being appreciative of a wonderful friend or one being considered as valuable and precious. Myths about autism and ASD. There have been many myths and different viewpoints from clinical experts and researchers alike about what really causes autism and other ASD conditions. Yet, I want to clarify and to create a better understanding and awareness for you readers to get rid of the stereotyping and judgmental views and thinking about people with AS, ASD, autism, and more. There are only a few myths that have been thought about people with ASD and other autistic conditions. Myth 1. Many children and young adults that have ASD do not care about others. Fact. This myth is not true as there are a few minorities of people with ASD that do care for others around them. And, they are the ones that gets hurt the most, as they put themselves out there and on the line for others. They are the ones who care so deeply for others, as most of us do have sensitive feelings, but some of those who suffer from ASD, do lack the ability to develop empathetic and socially connected behaviors towards others, as well as to themselves. Some people with ASD, however, do tend to misread or even misinterpret the cues of the body language, emotions, and thinking from others, as well to what you say to them also. Myth 2. Children and young adults with ASD prefer to isolate themselves. Fact. This myth is not true to me as many of us with ASD love to socialize with people, as well as interacting and engaging with others around us. Yet many of us do tend to lack the ability to develop the social interaction skills at a young age and may find it difficult later in life to engage and interact with people. Sometimes, due to people's ignorance, stereotyping and assumptions about people that have ASD and other autistic conditions, it usually becomes difficult to actually interact and engage with people no matter what they are and who they are. If we can get rid of the assumptions, stereotyping of others and just accept each other's differences no matter what it is we have got, and then it will become easier over time to get along. As mentioned earlier, many of us do need acceptance, and more to get ahead in life. Myth 3. ASD children and young adults with ASD cannot learn social skills. Fact. Children and young adults with ASD, sure as hell can learn social skills, and lots more. There is no such word as can't in our dictionary, as we tend to push more on ourselves to actually aim and achieve the desired results and outcomes, to any possible solutions and situations that we will face. We push ourselves harder to gain the skills set that are required from us, as well as having the right people with the right attitude and thinking, to receive the individualized and specialized training and instructions. Anything is possible, yet it is up to us how we will go about it, as everything starts and ends with us at the end of the day. Sometimes, some of us with ASD can be really competitive so as to achieve what we want in life. We are really self-disciplined and self-motivated. Some normal people may need to learn a few aspects of life through us. And, you will be grateful seeing through our lives, a different light, which may work and be applicable to your own lives. Some people may think of us as a threat, once we do achieve and gain knowledge and success. Yet, we are all humans, and we do the same thing as others does, but we do realize it to some point that all these things could be contradicting and might not fit into our mold of what needed to be done. Myth 4. ASD in children and young adults are caused by poor parenting or parental behaviors. Fact: this is not true, as parents do not and cannot cause ASD. The multiple causes for ASD are unknown, and still needs to be researched to gain more knowledge and insights of ASD. Yet, my only hope is to remove everyone's mentality, as well as the stereotyping of people with ASD, and removing that attitude and mentality that others seem to know more than us or know more about us, which they do not, as some people just tend to have a mindset and go with it. We all know what and who we are as a person. Yet it should not matter what others around us think about us, as it is their loss if they do not want to know us. Myth 5. ASD is a behavioral/emotional/mental health disorder. Fact: yes. This has been told to many of us that have been diagnosed with ASD and other conditions that there is. Yet, I want to tell you all, that, I do not like the word disorder. I don't condone this word. This word disorder to me is defined as an impairment or dysfunction of the mental and physical ability to what we can and cannot do in our everyday lives. I feel we should take the word disorder out of the dictionary, as well as out of the context to what we see it defined as. I see it defined as, being unfit mind and body. People with ASD and autistic-like conditions are actually, as a matter of fact, developmental and neurobiological. Some other disorders or diagnoses, as said before, for a female, however, do tend to wrap around with other conditions such as schizophrenia, depression, OCD, and more. These type conditions can manifest in any early years of childhood, and are likely to stay for a lifetime in that person. It is who they are and what they are. It is a part of them, yet with the right attitude and support, life will be easier for them. Myth 6. People with ASD cannot live successful lives, as well as contributing to the community and being a member of the community. Fact: wrong. With the right attitude, support networks, and thinking from others inside and outside our circle, we can go a long way and go the distance to live a successful and abundant life. Yet, we do tend to question ourselves so many times, as mentioned above about the social skills, as this plays a part here too. We all need to basically understand each other and get along with each other somehow, no matter what our differences and attitudes towards others. From what I can see, that there are lots of people with ASD who are becoming successful in their everyday lives with their chosen field of work, or even their chosen passions. This is again happening for many of us with ASD, having the right services that were readily available and being delivered to us as children, such as free public education. Myth 7. Certain behavior-based programs cures ASD if they are delivered at the right age and intensity. Fact: let's be real here. There is no cure for people with ASD and other autistic-like conditions. There is no magic cure by waving that magic wand and saying be cured. It will be good feeling if there was some form of cure to this, yet it is all about basically having again the right services and support to get through this. I mentioned before in this book that this condition is invisible and that it is now showing more predominantly in females than it has ever done before. Yet, with early childhood behavior-based interventions while the child is young, such as speech therapy, cognitive therapy, and more, some of these therapies will have positive effects on some children at their young age, or may have no effect in some children at that same age. Some of the clinical experts, healthcare, and education services that are out there may need to do more research and insight to access children while they are young to know what their needs are, as well as their learning styles. Again, this will need to be applied when they are approaching early teens stage. They say that the earlier the better the detection. This can be a real insight and helpful diagnosis, as it will or may slow the ASD-like conditions. Yet, it may not be guaranteed, as said before, that it is there for life. Myth 8. Children and young adults with ASD do not interact very well with good eye contact when holding a conversation, and they do not speak very well. Fact? Well, I will disagree with this, as there are a few minorities of us that can actually make good eye contact, interact and engage well with you. You will be surprised that we will speak, and when we speak, we may speak at a higher level of intelligence. We may tend to look into space for a while, but there are a lot of reasons for that. Children and young adults with ASD and other autistic-like conditions may be verbal or nonverbal as well, yet that determines what stage in their lives that they are at with the interaction and engaging with others take place. People with ASD may be bright and have an above-average intelligence level of learning, knowledge and understanding. Once we are talking to you, just know this: do not under any circumstances try to talk us down in any way, as we do know what you are saying. Yet sometimes we may misread you or misinterpret you and what your message is about. So that is why we just need sometimes a bit of clarity to what you are going on about. As I mentioned before, once we do start to talk to you, we may engage and talk about our favorite subjects, and as some people may call it, talking the subject to death. Myth 9. If you have ASD and other autistic-like conditions, you do not have other conditions. Fact? Again, this is not true, and quite on the contrary. As I have indicated at the beginning of my book, there will be bound to be other diagnoses with us having AS that does come into the territory of ours with AS. Yet, it is up to us how we are going to look after ourselves and what to do if anything does happen. Some of us do, however, try to have backup plans if all fail. Although, I am trying to be more reliant and flexible in my schedule now and again. After all, we are all still humans and we are just like you. Yet, we are wired differently to a degree where we do interact and do things differently and behave in a certain way towards others around us. Is AS a neurological condition or a personality? That is the question. There have been so many questions and assumptions about what AS really is, that had been either ignored or unanswered. Yet, some people may think or even say that it is a neurological condition or even a mental disorder of some kind, or they may think it is some sort of personality that AS reflects on the people that has been diagnosed with it. Many people make mistake about this again due to, as I mentioned so many times before, the lack of understanding and awareness that needs to be addressed about AS and many more conditions. That is becoming more predominantly common today than ever before. Many years ago, many clinical experts and the government think it is a personality trait. Yet, as we know or should be aware, it has been showing in a way that it works itself with people that has AS. I guess that for you readers, you will be asking me what I think it is and how I see it. Well, I shall tell you as you read further. I think and feel deeply that AS isn't a personality trait that we are all given, or shall I say that we all have. How I see it is that today, where it lies, AS isn't a personality trait. But I do see it, however, as a neurological condition. I also have noticed today that there are some specialists that will put AS in different categories after diagnosing a patient. However, I still see that today, although there has been a little bit more research and findings on this condition, there is a need for more awareness and understanding. I see that sometimes, there are many people today that still stereotype people with AS and other clinical conditions to the point where we need to fit into some sort of structure or label for this. Sometimes, some people may think, assume, or start to stereotype us, thinking that all people that have AS are the same. No, we aren't the same. We are like normal people NTs out there, but wired differently. No. We aren't the same, as people with AS will work differently regardless of their age or stage of their condition. I just believe that we all need to remove some of this stereotyped thinking and behaviors, and at least be more understanding, knowledgeable and empathetic to others. Sometimes, we may act differently, speak differently, or think differently, as this is based on our level of understanding which is higher than the normal NTS. Sometimes when NTS socialize with us, they tend to misunderstand us, misread us, or miscommunicate with us.